You have such a depth of work you've done in the online marketing space.
I was always trying to get creative with different ways to make money.
So what you're telling me is that when the Peterson family gets together for Thanksgiving, you all have to get out your phones and make influencer videos.
That is exactly how it is. I think we had done like 10,000 videos like combined between our entire family.
I know you've also had a lot of success sharing about your Amazon journey.
I did $39,000 profit in one single month from TikTok affiliates.
Where do these added influencer commissions come from? And they've never been able to answer me.
What's cool is it doesn't come out of the seller's pocket unless it's creator connections.
But there's tools and software to help you with that, to make it easier, to make it simpler.
And this one automation, as soon as I turned it on my account, I went from $40 in creator connections commissions to $900 in 30 days.
What have you found is the right way to approach a day on Amazon Influencer?
The very first thing that every single influencer needs to do is...
All right, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. My name is Jared Bauman. Today, we are joined by Trevin Peterson with Viral View. Trevin, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm really excited to have you on. We're going to talk about... I know that this one will be billed as we're talking kind of Amazon influencer and the software you've built, but looking over the agenda and kind of talking with you as we prepared for this, like you have such a depth of work you've done in the online marketing space. So really, I mean, I feel like it's gonna be a treat to have you because you have so much experience in all sorts of different areas when it comes to this, a long history of being in this space. So I'm very excited to have you. Welcome. Why don't you start by telling us maybe some backstory to build us up to where you're at right now?
Absolutely. So it all started when I was 8 years old. I've always had a passion for building businesses, and I can always remember doing little side hustles to generate some income. So I had a poop cleaning business. I had a garbage can cleaning business. I had a lawn mowing business. I was always trying to get creative with different ways to make money. And I also vividly remember, this is kind of a funny side note, I would get my dollar bills from cleaning a garbage can, and I'd come home and I would iron it. And I thought it was so cool to just have a crispy dollar bill. And so that was kind of what started my entire entrepreneur journey, is just as a kid. I grew up watching Shark Tank, and I was always just inspired of like, I want to build a business, but I didn't really know what that was. And so fast forward to me going to college. I got married when I was super young, and it kind of forced me into like figuring life out quick, because I'm like, I've got a wife, I've got to take care of her, I've got rent, I've got payments, like I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's when I kind of dove into the make money online space.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started researching and trying literally every single side hustle possible. I did affiliate marketing. I joined an MLM. I grew Instagram accounts. I sold products via Shopify doing drop shipping. I started Amazon FBA. Like I just tried all these different things, and a few would kind of stick. Some wouldn't, some would work, but then it would kind of fizzle out. And just over time, I started kind of figuring out what actually worked and what didn't. And before I knew it, I just kind of fell into the main model that worked for me the best early on, was selling products on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So I started an Amazon FBA business, and it just kind of grew from there, one thing to another. And I haven't looked back ever since. I mean, obviously there's a lot in between there, but that's kind of how my journey has started and gotten me to where I'm currently at.
With FBA, I mean, there's so many different ways to go about that, right? There's so many different approaches. There's so many different models, and we're not here to talk about really the FBA thing at large, although I'm sure we could fill a whole podcast with your experience there. Just generally speaking, like what did you find the most successful approach to FBA?
So that's what's interesting, is most people start with like reselling books or doing online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, but I dove right into private label. So I started building my own brand, and that's what I was just used to. I had a buddy who was built a tie company. So he sold neckties. He still does. He crushes it. And he was the one that kind of inspired me of like, hey, you can actually sell products online. I'm like, wait, you can? And then he was selling on Shopify. He was doing some Amazon. And then I had another buddy. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like I'm going to just find a product. I'm going to manufacture it, and I'll just bulk order the inventory, and I'll have Amazon do the fulfillment. So I mainly, and I would say my entire Amazon FBA journey, I've dabbled into the other models, but it's mainly been private label.
Okay. Are you still doing that today, or did you move on from that?
I still do have my brands to this day, and I still sell. I'm definitely not as actively growing it every single day. I work on it probably 10 to 30 minutes per day is kind of how I have my time allotment allocated. But the rest of my time is definitely dedicated more towards viral view and the software side of things. So
Yeah.
it's definitely been a interesting pivot because for the last 8 years, Amazon FBA has been what I've done literally all day, every day, and it's been a little interesting to have that shift. But what's cool is it is still running. I have the systems in place to make sure that it is like continuing to run. But yeah, I still do sell on Amazon.
Hey guys, Jared here. Well, 2026 is fast upon us. And if you're like me, I love to use this time of year to reflect on what went well in 2025 and what I can do to improve for my business in the coming year. Why not download our free GEO snapshot audit to see how your business is positioned in terms of visibility in LLMs like ChatGPT and others? Gives you a great way to see what you need to be working on in 2026 and beyond. You can grab that for free at 201creative.com/GEO snapshot. Again, that's 201creative.com/GEO snapshot. All right, back to the interview. So you mentioned it. You've got this SaaS now, Viral View. It's heavily integrated into Amazon Influencer and a couple other things. And so we're going to get into kind of dovetail your journey into that program along with the software. It's always cool when we have somebody on who built something to solve their own problem first and foremost, and it turned into something really successful. Where'd all these gears start turning? Like you're an FBA. I could make some guesses knowing what I know about the Amazon influencer program and your interaction with influencers potentially, but I don't actually know. Where did you start to transition from FBA into what you're doing now and seeing the opportunity there?
Yeah. So having that seller mindset and obviously selling myself has my mind in a different place than I would say 99.9% of typical Amazon influencers. And so back in early 2023, end of 2022 is when I started figuring out about the influencer program. I started seeing videos show up on my listing as a seller.
Which has got to be, I've never talked to a seller about this, but it's got to be like, what's this thing here?
And I had no idea. I'm like, what's happening? Like, what is this? And no sellers knew. Like, sellers were clueless. And
They didn't tell
still,
you, hey, we're going to.
no. Still to this day, sellers have no idea. I would say majority of the sellers that understand the influence program are Chinese sellers. But us American sellers, North America sellers, we're clueless. And people are like, wait, this is actually a thing. And people make videos and it gets on my listing. And they're like, what? And so I started seeing that. And then I started hearing other people on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube of like, hey, like I'm taking my phone and I'm making these simple review videos and I'm getting paid. And I'm like, wait, are people making videos about my product and they're getting paid talking about it? Like, is this coming out of my pocket? Like, what's happening? And so
It's
then
funny. That's
that's when I
always
kind of,
been a question I've wanted to ask seller brands, and I've asked a few of them, and they're like, "We don't know." So I'd be curious to get your take on that because you sound like you actually know what's going on. But I've asked a couple of sellers, "Where do these added influencer commissions come from?" And they've never been able to answer me.
that's a great question. So what's cool is it doesn't come out of the seller's pocket unless it's creator connections. So I'll kind of break it down. So there's what's called a standard Amazon referral fee that you pay a flat 15% to Amazon every time you sell a unit. So no matter what, you are always going to pay that 15% referral fee. That has been around since I started selling back 8 years ago. And Amazon, what they do is they basically take a percentage of that referral fee and pass it on to the influencer. So I'm paying that regardless. And it's like, well, for me as a seller, I'd rather have the influencer make 2 to 3% than give Amazon the full 15.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everyone. The influencer gets paid, the seller gets a better conversion rate.
Yep.
But there is a thing called creator connections, which is a massive opportunity, and that does come out of the seller's pocket. So the sellers will create campaigns with increased commissions, and those do come out of the seller's pocket. But the standard commission, it doesn't affect the seller whatsoever.
Makes sense. Okay, good. Okay, I derailed you a bit. 2022, end of 2022, beginning of 2023, you start seeing these things pop up. You do your homework and you figure out that their Amazon influencer is part of the program,
Yep.
of incentivizing influencers to make videos about your actual products.
So yeah, I was like, I want to try this. And my mindset since day one, I've always been willing to, as soon as I see a new thing like come to market, I'm always like very curious and I want to try it myself. And that's what happened with the influence program is, okay, these people are claiming that they're making money, but does it actually work? I'm going to try it. So I basically went, started Googling, found how to apply, and I actually got rejected. I got rejected to the influence program when I very first applied. I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like, I have a lot of followers. Like, I thought that this is what you needed to get approved. And for whatever reason, I didn't. And so I was like, okay, I need to reach out to my brother. I'm going to have him get approved. I'm going to basically make him be the guinea pig and him go try it. So I called him. I'm like, hey, Cade, you need to go apply for this program, see if you get approved. And if you do, we're going to start making videos and just see if we can make money.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically our first, he got approved instantly.
Of course.
And we kind of know why and what happened, but anyways, he got approved and we just started making videos. In our first month, I think we did like $3,000. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, this is crazy. And again, this was very early on to the influence program. Things have changed quite a bit from then, but I'm like, is this real? Like, we just made all these random videos talking about random products and we just got paid like a pretty decent chunk of money. And so from there, we started telling our family. My brother-in-law, he was like, there's no way, like, this doesn't make sense. But like, if this is true, like, what are the limitations to this? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. So he dove into it. And within the first week, he had 700 videos up. And him and his wife, so my sister, they ended up quitting their job because of the influence program. Then I got my other sister-in-law into it. I even got my dad doing these videos.
Good
and
grief,
so I just got my entire, I got my entire family doing it because I'm like, this is one of the greatest opportunities I've ever seen. Again, coming from my background, trying so many different side hustles, I'm like, this is crazy. And so then one thing led to another. And before you knew it, our entire family was doing it. And I think we had done like 10,000 videos, like combined between our entire family. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do things. And this is where, like, coming from the selling side was kind of an advantage, because as a seller, there's so many different softwares that you can use to find products, to automate certain tasks, to just really make sure that you're eliminating the guesswork. And so then that's when the idea of Viral View was born, of like, there's got to be a better way to find products. There's got to be a better way to tag products. There's got to be a better way to accept these campaigns. And then it just kind of led to one thing to another. And eventually that's kind of how we started Viral View.
So what you're telling me is that when the Peterson family gets together for Thanksgiving, you guys probably don't eat for a while because you all have to get out your phones and make influencer videos about everything until you sit down for the dinner.
And what's funny is that is exactly how it is. When we are together as a family, that's what it is. Like, it's a family review affair. Like, and we're always showing like, oh, look at this product I got. Oh, look at this product. Oh, I need to go and do this review here. Or, oh, mom bought this product. I want to review it before you do. Like,
before
it's
see
super
all
fun.
the conversations.
And early on, we kind of like set some boundaries of like, okay, you can't do this and this is free game. But now we've been doing it for so long, it's just like, we don't care. Everyone's winning, and just go have fun. And so, like, there's not as much competition. But early on, it definitely was like, hey, you stole my product. Like, I got that. You can't review that.
I was
and
top
now
of the carousel, and then you came in and did a video 1 minute longer than mine, and now you're talking
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's been fun, and
yeah,
it's been a wild journey.
Obviously we have a lot to talk about. I want to ask you one question, just because I don't have this opportunity to talk to someone on the seller side who understands the program as well as you do. Again, I've asked sellers. I have friends who sell. I have friends who have FBA, and they're kind of clueless on it, kind of exactly like what you talked about. Obviously, Amazon hasn't given them a lot of information about it. On the seller side, do you notice the effects and the impacts of influencer videos? Does it increase conversion rate? Do you notice the effects of higher quality ones? You know, if you have enough products, you might be able to start comparing like, hey, that was a really good influencer video, not one of those 49-second ones where someone just whipped out their camera in the dark and did a video, but that was a really well thought out influencer video. Do these things have impacts for sellers?
So what's interesting is it was really hard to actually know if it did or not until Creator Connections came around. And now with Creator Connections, when you create a campaign, it actually tracks like your ROAS and your return on spend. Like how many clicks they're generating, how many sales they're generating, and you can actually see like those metrics. But outside of that, it's really hard to know. But for me, the one key indicator that makes me believe that it is an absolute must is Chinese sellers. So Chinese sellers in the Amazon selling space, they are smart. They are very, very good at what they do. And their strategies, they're always 10 steps ahead of the average seller. And as the influencer, the brands that I'm working with, 99.9% are Chinese sellers.
Correct.
And so that makes me kind of put two and two together that they wouldn't be dishing out all these products to influencers getting video reviews if it did not help with their conversion rates, if it did not help the Amazon algorithm. So for sure, Creator Connections, there is data that backs it, that shows that it does help and it does improve. The actual videos outside of Creator Connections, I personally believe that it does help for the reason that the Chinese sellers are always 10 steps ahead and they're smarter than we are. And they always, for whatever reason, I don't know how, but they always are adopting the latest strategies. And then it slowly gets to us and we're like, oh, wait, this is a thing. Like, why haven't I been doing this for the last 2 years?
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's a great point. Now, at some point, TikTok entered the equation for you as well. I know that you've had a lot of success with TikTok as well. And I know you've also had a lot of success sharing about your Amazon journey on platforms like YouTube and, you know, for other content creators like us. I wanted to bring both of those up. How does that all play into what you just got done telling us about your success with you and your family with Amazon Influencer in that timeline?
Yeah, I do think that's a great point to kind of talk about because when I started my selling journey, probably 6 months into it, I started seeing quite a bit of success. And I was looking at YouTube videos and different blog articles, and I'm like, this information just seems kind of regurgitated. It seems outdated. It seems like the people that are talking about it don't actually have actual experience. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick up the camera and just start documenting my journey. What's crazy is like looking back on that, I don't know why I had that thought. I just think that it was just I got lucky, to be honest, and I'm so glad that I did because content creation, it will change your life. If you can learn how to create content, like your life can be completely changed. So anyways, I just started picking up the camera, documenting my journey, and little by little I started building a following as people were very interested about what I had to say about Amazon because I'm like, "Hey, I got this result. Here's what I did to get this result." And then little by little it just led to one thing to another and then TikTok came out back in, well, it was Musically, I think, right? Wasn't it
Wow.
Musically?
Yeah. Yeah.
So right as it shifted from Musically to TikTok, again, when TikTok was not cool, it was like only for little kids and only like 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds were out there dancing on it. I'm like, you know what? I want to start trying it. Like, I want to just start talking about what I'm interested in. And so I downloaded TikTok, I got into it, and I started posting videos of my Tesla. So I was one of the very first people in like our neighborhood to get, it was a Model 3. It wasn't like anything fancy, but Teslas were not very popular back in, I think it was 2018 or 2019. And I just started showing people like the technology of the Tesla, the full self-driving, and TikTok just blew up. And
Mm.
before you know it, I had like 40,000 followers in like 2 weeks. I'm like, what is happening? This is crazy. And I'm like, I wonder if I could also talk about business and I wonder if people would be interested in business. And so I kind of started talking about selling on Amazon. And sure enough, people loved it. And I grew even more, and I grew to over 100,000 followers. And then it just kind of led to one thing. And I just started just sharing my life, talking about what I was doing. And then when TikTok Shop rolled out, I'm like, okay, I've got to jump on this as well. And so as soon as the affiliate program came out on TikTok, I'm like, okay, I understand how Amazon Influencer works, and I'm just gonna start making videos. And before you knew it, I'm like having a lot of success with TikTok affiliates. So it like the more that I talk about like my journey and what I've done, it just is all over the place. It doesn't really make sense, but at the same time, like it does make sense. And it's just kind of like these like stepping stones, these building blocks that I do one thing, I build a skill set here, and then it carries over to here. And then I understand this, and then it takes over to this element of the business. And so now when something new kind of comes my way, I kind of have
Mm,
all the tools in the tool bucket to at least prove out the concept to see if it works or not.
yeah. Well, I think if there's anything that all this has in common, perhaps it's you jumping on new platforms and new opportunities before there's been enough people to come out and say that it works.
And for sure, most people are scared to be the first one. For me, that's the advantage. Like the advantage is being the first to try these new opportunities. And if you can
Well,
be
it's
the
harder.
first, it
It's
is
harder
harder.
because there's no YouTube videos out there teaching you how to do it. It's
Exactly.
riskier because it might not work, which means you waste a lot of your time. So there are barriers, but to your point, there's also opportunity.
And for me, I like the challenge. I like going in and kind of I'm a self starter. I like to just figure things out. And if there's a problem, I like to figure out how to solve it. Like for example, when I was I think it was like 12, my dog, we had a mini Pomeranian. It couldn't jump up on my bed, and it would always bark at me to try to like in the middle of the night to lift it up. So I went out in the backyard, I got some 2x4s, I got some wood, and I made dog stairs. And what's funny is I have several students that have launched dog stairs on Amazon, and they have done very well. And that was 15 years later. So I should have just been selling dog stairs back when I
All
was
along.
12 years old and ran with that idea. But like as soon as there's a problem, I'm like, okay, how can we solve it? Or how
Mhm.
can we take this and what's the solution to it? And that's just kind of how my brain is wired. And if you can be a problem solver, like you'll have unlimited opportunities of just yeah, building and creating whatever whatever you can come up with.
So I want to talk about viral view and the software. I want to talk about some of your tips for succeeding now on the Amazon influencer program. But maybe before we do, like, help us get our mind. You've given us some numbers, like 10,000 videos as a family, and but maybe help us understand like, what kind of volume have you done in terms of earnings? Anything you're comfortable sharing
For
on
sure.
Amazon influencer or TikTok affiliates? We talk about Amazon influencer on here. I don't know. I don't want to say a decent amount, but multiple times a year. I can't think of a time we've talked about TikTok affiliates. So I really am interested in that side of things too.
Yeah, so basically we'll talk about both cuz in my mind like they're very similar models. They are different in a sense of like the type of video that you're making on TikTok is going to be way more aggressive, way more clickbait, way more like hey, like up in your face type thing, making call outs of flash sales, deals. Amazon doesn't allow you to do that. And
Mm,
so 99.9% of my TikTok videos, if I were to take those and post them to Amazon, they wouldn't get approved. And
yeah.
if I took my Amazon influencer videos and posted them as a TikTok affiliate video, they would get no traction. So it's the same model. You're promoting products. It's just the style of video is a little bit different. One is very short form, and then the other is just more like unboxing, very kind of slow pace, and the other is fast pace.
Yeah.
So when you compare the two, I always tell people I could take 100 people off the street and I could have 100 people, basically 100 for 100, be successful with Amazon influencer just because like the videos don't require as much skill.
Yeah.
Where TikTok affiliates, I can't say that same thing. Like you
Got to have
do
some
have to
charisma. You've got to have a flow. You've got to have a pace about you. You've got to have some call to action, or else it's just not going to get anything for you.
it's going to be tough. And
Yeah.
so TikTok affiliates is a little bit higher barrier to entry. It requires a little bit more skill, but when you look at like the earning potential, as crazy as it is, TikTok affiliates, you can go viral and make, I mean, it's absolutely insane. So at this was last year, my peak, my best month, I did $39,000 profit in one single month from TikTok
Wow.
affiliates, which is
Wow.
just mind blowing. And I have a sister-in-law who this month she's on track to do over 30 grand on TikTok affiliates, just crushing it. So in terms of like going viral and hitting that jackpot, TikTok affiliates has that potential. But again, the caveat is it's like the top 1%. And I actually got a TikTok recap um over like they it was kind of cool. They did a recap over the year and they said that my account was in the top 2% of TikTok accounts. My sister-in-law actually outpaced me and she's in the top 1%. And so we're talking about like the 1%, 2% of people actually make those types of commissions. So I do want to be fully transparent with that. But the opportunity is there. And like if you're good at creating content and if you understand how to grab people's attention, like TikTok affiliates is very, very lucrative. It is a grind. Like you do have to be putting in a lot of effort. Like for example, that's my sister-in-law's full-time gig. That's all she does. She posts 5 to 8 videos every single day, and she's been doing that for the last 12 months.
Mhm.
And so it's you got to be dialed in, and like the videos are a little bit more edited. They're not just like one take, no cuts, no edits like you do on influencer. So again, there is that strategy, there is that element, but again, the earning potential is pretty crazy. With Amazon Influencer, between my brother and I think our best month was 5 figures, which like that's phenomenal. But that also includes brand deals, so getting paid to do the videos, the commissions from Amazon, and then reselling the products that we get. And so when you kind of combine those three elements, like the opportunity is there. Now, my brother and sister-in-law, their highest month, they did 15 grand, which was crazy. Like they crushed it, and it was like 90% came from their actual commissions, and then the other came from they actually started a bounce house company because they got so many brand deals from bounce houses. So they literally got so many free bounce houses from the influence program that they're like, what are we going to do with them? So they partnered with a local company and now they rent out the bounce houses, which is kind of funny.
I love that.
So when you look at both of them, like the earnings are pretty crazy, especially when you don't have to invest in inventory. So like again, my background is selling on Amazon. Like if you want to go launch a product on Amazon, you are spending at least 5 to 10 grand minimum to launch that product. Amazon influencer and TikTok affiliates, all you need is a phone and the products that you already have at your house, and
Mhm.
you can start generating money in as quick as a few weeks. Like that doesn't really exist in any side hustle that I have personally tried. Like I've tried, like for example, affiliate marketing. That's a great business model, but it's going to take you 6, 8, 9 months to build up an audience before you even see maybe one commission.
Yeah.
But with influencer and TikTok affiliates, it's like the audience is there, the products are there. Now you just need to know how to make that content, and you can really scale up. So both of them, honestly, like the earning potential is definitely there, but I will say you have to be willing to put in the work. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Trevin, I want to get those results," but then they're only willing to film 1 or 2 videos per week, or they're only willing to dedicate 10 minutes a day on it. And it's like, if you want to get full-time results, well, then you got to put in full-time effort. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is if you're going to get the 30K month on TikTok affiliates, well, you got to treat it like a full-time job. It can't be some side hustle. Now, if you want it to be some side hustle, like you can go out and very, very conservatively make 1 to 3K a month. Like that's doable. But if you're looking for these big numbers, that's where you've got to actually put in a lot of effort.
Well, and I think a lot of people have historically looked at Amazon influencer, to some degree TikTok affiliates, as side hustle. And so I think that's one thing that is very interesting about Amazon influencer is that over the last couple of years, 2023 to now 2025 and 2026, the depth of the program has expanded so much that it actually does have enough going for it that it could be full-time income for a lot of people. You are one of a few who is making full-time income on it back in 2023 and stuff. And so it does have that flexibility to swell into something where like you're sharing $30,000, $40,000 months. That's crazy. That's more than full-time income. So of course it could substantiate full-time work, but also still making 1, 2, 3K a month by treating it like a side hustle. It does, from what it sounds like, from what you're sharing, it has that flexibility to be either for you, depending on how you want to approach it.
And that's what I love about it is any person. And that's also why it gets me so excited. And that's why I introduced it to my family is because again, my family members, everyone can use an extra $500 a month. Everyone can benefit from an extra even $200 a month. Like that covers groceries, that covers gas bills, that covers who knows what, maybe a vacation at the end of the year as you saved up $2,000 because of this side hustle. So it does give you that flexibility. And I would say a lot of like our viral view users, a lot of them are stay-at-home moms that are like, hey, I have an extra 30 minutes a day that I want to allocate, and I just want to kind of provide some income so that we can increase our lifestyle, or so that we're not living as so much paycheck to paycheck as we were. And that's what's cool is you can spend 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes a day. You could spend 10 hours a day. And again, depending on how much you put in is what you're going to get out. And so the people that understand that first, like it's not just going to build itself, like it's going to be something that you have to actually work for. But if you do just want it to be a simple side hustle, like it's phenomenal. And what's also crazy is I have friends that got into the program. It's been like a year and a half ago. They went really hard for like 2-3 months, and then they got a job. They started doing other things and they kind of went a different direction. But the work that they did a year and a half ago is still producing them results to this day. And that's the craziest part is like, if you go and put in the work right now, and let's say 6 months from now, you have a different passion, or you're like, you know what, this isn't my thing. This isn't as fun, or I'm kind of burnt out, or I want to go do a flower shop, or I want to go do a social media agency, like whatever business you want to do, that will still be running in the background, and like it will still be producing income, which is crazy. Now, is it going to continue to go up month over month? No. But is it going to bring in some side income to help fund your next business or your next venture, or just give you some extra income? Absolutely. And that's one thing that I really like about it is it's you put in the work up front, and if for whatever reason you want to move on, like it will still continue to produce results down the road.
You've already touched on creator connections, and so I want to transition into some of these ideas, especially as it relates to the software that you build. I started on the Amazon influencer program in like early to mid 2023, and it was really all shoppable videos at that time, and that was about all that really people were doing, and that was all that I did. We'll save my history in the last couple of years on it, but fast forward to today, you would benefit from taking a more robust approach to Amazon influencer. Yes, making those shoppable videos from the products that you own, but going well beyond that and participating in creator connections campaigns, working with brands, trying to get additional product, working with the brands that are offering those higher commissions on creator connections, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Brand deals. There's so many opportunities now. Somewhere along the way, you started Viral View as a software. I'm just curious, was this, talk to us about the software and the foundation of it, where you got the idea for it. And I'm just curious from a high level, was it more in response to the changes of the program, or is it more in response to the fact that you were just seeing operational scale, right? Like you're making a lot of videos. And was this more to kind of solve some of the internal operational scale issues? Because it does both. It takes advantage of a lot of the new opportunities that are available on Amazon Influencer and helps you out with that, saves you that time, helps you source new deals, but also makes you far more scalable.
Absolutely. So what's crazy is when we started to where we're at now, I mean, It's changed dramatically. But the first idea that we had originally was I want to be able to scan my Amazon order history, so figure out what products I own at my house, and I want to know which ones have the most potential to review.
Mm,
I know that Amazon, like there's softwares for sellers that will tell you revenue, bestseller rank, these different things. None told you that, plus what is the competition like for influencer videos? Is there a top carousel? Is there not? And so I'm like, okay, if we can get the revenue numbers and then we can also identify if there is availability on the carousel, well, if I can scan my order history and know what products I have at my house that are going to produce the best results, that's a game changer. And so that was the very first idea that we had of like, I just need to know what products that I have, because just going around kind of like a chicken with your head cut off around your house, just reviewing everything, like it works,
that was
but
me.
it's not the most efficient. And back then it worked way better. Like now, if you go do that, your results are going to, honestly, they're going to be awful, because most of the products that you're going to be reviewing have insane competition. And that was the next big kind of breakthrough that we had with our software. And I'm still proud to this day that we're actually the only software that offers this data point. It's called our total influencer video count. And so basically, what this data point will tell you is how many influencer videos are on a product listing, whether or not Amazon shows it. And so a lot of people early on were like, oh, this carousel is wide open. But little did they know, Amazon is not showing the 100 other videos that are basically in line to potentially be in top carousel. And so a lot of people are reviewing products around their house that have 100 competing influencer videos. And what's crazy is I have products that I've bought at my house, and there is 1,800 competing influencer videos.
My goodness.
And it's like, if you go and review that, you have what, a 0.01% chance of actually showing up on top carousel, let alone converting into a commission. And so when we started seeing that, I'm like, we need to figure out how we can do that. And so basically, scanning the order history, knowing the total influencer video count is what started Viral View. And then from there, we've just added feature after feature. And as we listen to our users, as we listen to our customers, we get feedback and we're like, okay, oh, this would be good. Let's improve this here. And when we very first started, Creator Connections wasn't even a thing. I mean, it was, but like nobody was doing it, and especially the sellers. So what's crazy is right now there's 470,000 campaigns, I think, inside Creator Connections. When I started, there was like 10,000. So like we're talking about like 10,000 versus 400,000. Like that just shows how small Creator Connections was. So no one was thinking about it. And the matter of fact, this year, at the beginning of the year, Creator Connections wasn't really that heavy of a strategy for majority of influencers. And it wasn't until I think we released our Creator Connection tool, I think it was May or June of 2025. And that's when things really started to take off, and it put Creator Connections on the map. And at the same time, sellers, I think, started to realize that, us affiliates and influencers started to realize it. And so then it kind of grew from there. So it's been interesting to see kind of over time how it's evolved. But yeah, early on it was review products that you already own, like just do that. But now it's very much focused on like, you still want to do that. But the thing is the products that you have at your house, there's going to be maybe 2-3% that actually are going to be good products. And so once you kind of go through the good products that you own, you've got to find a way to actually get these products sent to you from these brands that don't have a ton of competition, but have a ton of sales. And that's where we have automations that will do brand reach out. We'll reach out to these sellers, basically requesting samples. And again, we have the data on these products. So you can basically reach out to brands that have products that are selling good and products that have low total influencer video count. And so you basically strategically reaching out to these sellers saying, hey, I'm an influencer. we send me a product, and in exchange, I'll do a video review. And then you get like, we're talking boxes and boxes showing up on your porch. Like, maybe I'll send you a picture of people's front porches and what it looks like. It's absolutely insane in how many products you can get. And again, little side note, we've gotten so many free products that we've had to do 2 free garage sales. So not a garage sale where we charged, we literally just gave it away. And we had 500 people show up, and we were just giving away all the products that we got for free from Creator Connections, because our garage and our living room and our house was just too overwhelmed that I'm like, I don't even know what to do with these products. So let's just give them away. And so anyways, that's kind of how the strategy has evolved over the last 2 years of influencer. Obviously, there's a lot of little things here and there that have stayed the same, but that's kind of, it's evolved quite a bit.
We could do a whole podcast on the nitty gritty of viral view and how to use it on a daily basis, how to use it to maximize your scale. I'll say this because I want to keep the podcast really focused on like getting the maximum value out of you, and not just recapping things we can watch on YouTube videos. And so let me ask this: in terms of what an Amazon influencer's daily workflow should look like nowadays, according to you, what would that be? Because you've talked about all the changes and you've talked about how many opportunities there are, but that can also mean we get distracted by shiny object syndrome and we're not doing the most impactful things. What have you found is the right way to approach a day on Amazon Influencer, with all the opportunities, but also with all the tools available?
Love that. So the very first thing that every single influencer needs to do is find and accept Creator Connection campaigns. We have an automation that will basically cross-reference your storefront to the Creator Connections database, and it will find campaigns that you're eligible for. And this one automation, as soon as I turned it on my account, I went from $40 in Creator Connections commissions to $900 in 30 days. And it was literally doing nothing different. It was just accepting campaigns for videos that I've already filmed. So that is by
because
far,
you don't get notified if a Creator Connection campaign launches and you've already made a video. So maybe, this coffee mug I made a video on 2 years ago. It's a little holiday classic. My wife gets out. I would never know if this brand decided this year to launch a Creator Connection campaign. And then I could be missing out on 20 or 30% commissions just because I did not go and enroll myself and my video I've already made in that campaign.
Exactly. And for those that don't know what Creator Connections is, sellers create campaigns with increased commission rates. So instead of making your 2 to 4%, like your standard commissions, you can make 10, 20, even up to 50%. And the key is you have to accept the campaign in order to get the commission. If you don't accept the campaign, then you won't get the commission. And then another misconception is people are like, I thought you had to do and run offsite traffic to qualify for Creator Connections campaigns. And that's not true. What's awesome is if you do influencer, you do shoppable videos, if you drive only on-site traffic, you can qualify for Creator Connections campaigns. You do not have to drive offsite. So that's the first, find and accept campaigns. There's another one where you basically scan your sales history or your earnings reports. You'll want to do this every single day. There's what's called halo sales. Have you heard of that term before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for those that are listening, if you make a video talking about a water bottle, somebody watches it, but then they're like, I want to buy, instead of a Walla, I want to buy a hydro jug, or I want to buy a different brand. Or maybe they don't buy a water bottle and they go buy a spatula.
Which, by the way, happens all the time on Amazon because their conversion rates are off the charts and people buy when they go to Amazon.
Exactly. So basically your video, if they watch it, but then it redirects them or it influences them to buy a different type of product, you can still earn a commission. And what we call it collect 48 hours automation. Basically what it will do is it will go and collect the past 48 hours of halo sales. And then it will take those ASINs and cross-check the campaign database inside Creator Connections, and it will accept them. And just that one tool alone increased my commissions by $300 in 1 month.
Mhm.
Literally just running that every single day. So again, these two strategies, you're not creating new content. You're literally just running the automations and finding the campaigns that you're eligible for. And like Jared mentioned, Amazon doesn't tell you that you're eligible for this. And if you don't accept it, then you're just basically losing those commissions. So those are the two most important things that every single day you need to be doing is creator connections, accepting the campaigns. And that's where viral view comes in, and we'll kind of automate that process. The next part is just being consistent, uploading videos. And part of being consistent is having a consistent flow of new products showing up and being able to review. And that's where inside creator connections, you can reach out and message these brands requesting for samples. Again, viral view can automate that process as well. If you don't want viral view, you can manually go in and
Mhm.
message the sellers, and that's totally great. And you'll just go in, message the sellers, request for the samples. They'll start sending you products. And if you can do those, I guess, three things, so the find and accept creator connections campaigns, uploading consistently, and getting a consistent flow of new products, like those are the three things that are going to move the needle more than anything else. Like there's other strategies of like tagging the parent ASIN or YouTube or these other things, but like they're important. But like if you're not doing those three things, the other ones aren't as impactful.
Much of what 2023 Amazon influencer was more of an evergreen approach. Use what you have, make a video about it, publish it, set it, forget it. And if the product goes on to do really well, you're going to make more. And if you end up in the top carousel, you're going to make more. And it's kind of a numbers game. It's shifted, and now it's much more daily involvement, right? But there's tools and software to help you with that, to make it easier, to make it simpler. The daily involvement isn't hours a day. It can be just minutes a day, doing some of the things you talked about. Now, one thing that is different that does require strategy, because going and running these scans, that's not strategy, that's just doing stuff. But strategy is in now finding products. If we're no longer just recording videos about the stuff we have in our house, because more than likely there's 1,800 videos in the carousel for that. If we're actually trying to go out and look for product, what are some good rule of thumbs you found for finding winning products? Because there's a lot of with data comes a lot of decision, and now a lot of things I got to think through, and now a lot of things I need to understand, because what we don't want to do is go out and make a ton of videos for a ton of products and invest a ton of time in that, but then not have much to show for it because we picked the wrong products.
Absolutely. Product research is definitely crucial. And that's what started Viral View, is how can we figure out what products have potential and not. And so there's several ways to find good products. So I'll kind of walk you through a few. So like I mentioned, scan your order history. You can use Viral View, scan your order history, and it will filter products by good revenue. So that's the first indicator of a good product. So it's got to have a decent revenue. And for me, like decent revenue is at least like 5 to 10 grand a month. If
Mhm.
it's lower than that, it's like it just might not really generate much. Obviously, the more the better. And then the second metric that I'm looking at is the total influencer video count. Is there 100 influencer videos, or is there one? Is there two? Is there five? That's a lot better. And then another thing that most people don't understand is there a merchant video? And
Mhm.
what I mean by that is, does the seller themselves have a video on their listing? Because if they don't, well, then top carousel cannot exist. And that's a very important metric that most people don't really look at. Is they're like, I made a video, but I'm not on top carousel. And I'm like, well, did you look at the actual listing and realize that the seller doesn't have a video? And if the seller doesn't have one, then your video can't show up there either. And so viral view, we have what's called the viral score. It will literally take all of those metrics, factoring them into an equation, and spit out a score from 0 being the worst, 100 being the best. And it makes it really easy to be like, okay, this one has good potential. It's green. And we also have it color coordinated, where green is good, yellow is so, and then red is like you just want to avoid it. So those are kind of the main metrics to look at. Then from there, you can search on Amazon. So you can search for any keyword on Amazon. And I've kind of trained, I've tried to train my wife to do this. She's she's kind of lagging, but we shop a ton on Amazon. I'm sure a lot of the listeners do. I'm sure Jared, you probably are always shopping as well. And so if you're going to be buying a product, well, you might as well buy the best product that has the most potential to
Right.
review.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be buying a frother, well, instead of buying the Zule kitchen frother, probably everyone knows what a Zule kitchen frother is. That one has the 1800 influencer videos, by the way. So instead of buying that product, we'll go buy a different one that is literally the same exact product. They look the same. It's just a different brand that has 10 influencer videos. And that one is going to produce results where the Zule kitchen one is just not. And so when you're searching or when you're going to be buying, strategically buy the best products. So like when I'm Christmas shopping, when I'm buying a birthday present for my 2-year-old, I'm always like, okay, I gotta buy him. Like if I'm gonna be buying him like a Power Wheels, well, I want to buy him a Power Wheels that is going to potentially make my money back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is one element. And then creator connections, you can actually use Viral View, and it will basically pull all the campaigns, pull the products from the campaigns, and tell you which products have the most potential inside creator connections. And then those are the products that you want to reach out for samples. Because again, the whole goal is like if you can, like, just doing more videos, it can produce results, but if the products are not good, your videos are not gonna they're not gonna be seen. And if they're not gonna get seen, then you're not gonna generate commissions. And so those are kind of the three main ways of product research. Scan what you already have. You can also go to family members' house. So like I go to my mom's house, I'll scan her order history. I'll go to my neighbor's house, I'll scan their order history. Scan what you currently have. Then when you're shopping on Amazon, strategically buy the best products. And then when it comes to creator connections, reach out to the best brands and the best products that have the most potential. And that combination between like those three, that's where you're going to see the biggest lift in your commissions.
Hey guys, Jared here. Well, 2026 is fast upon us. And if you're like me, I love to use this time of year to reflect on what went well in 2025 and what I can do to improve for my business in the coming year. Why not download our free GEO snapshot audit to see how your business is positioned in terms of visibility in LLMs like ChatGPT and others? Gives you a great way to see what you need to be working on in 2026 and beyond. You can grab that for free at 201creative.com/GEO snapshot. Again, that's 201creative.com/GEO snapshot. Give us maybe my last question. Just tell us about where Viral View as a brand is right now. Like, you started this, I believe it was early 2024. I think I remember looking up on your website was when it launched. And so it's been around for, call it 2 years or so. 2 years when this interview is going live. Like, how has that brand grown, and how do you balance your time still being involved in the influencer program? I don't know. Are you still doing TikTok affiliates? You have a software company to run now. How do you handle all that?
That's like the best question, and it gets me the most excited. So I'm excited to kind of unpeel the onion on that one. So we started back in 2023, July is
Okay.
when we
Okay.
started development. And that's when kind of we had the idea, and we had our basically it was a terrible product, but we had something that was somewhat usable in November, and then we did kind of a soft launch in January of 2024.
Okay.
And it's been an uphill battle. It was definitely not easy. We went into it thinking we had this like $5,000 budget to create this extension, and I was in way over my head. That was
I'm
not the
guessing it costs a
case.
lot more than 5,000.
It was, I I'm not going to disclose the number, but if people heard the number, they would be mind blown. They would be like, "You spent that much developing this?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." Unfortunately, but it's been an amazing journey, and there's been times where we didn't know if we were going to make it. We didn't know if we were going to be able to succeed. We didn't know if we were going to be able to continue paying the developers because we just kept bleeding money. I mean, we weren't profitable for the first, it wasn't until this year of May 2025.
Yeah.
So it took us that long to become profitable.
Yeah.
Like, and luckily I had TikTok affiliates. I had
Yeah.
Amazon influencer money coming in to kind of fund some things, but it was a grind, and most people won't see that side of things. They'll just kind of see the front end product of what it is today. But there was multiple times, sleepless nights of like, are we going to have to pull the plug on this? Is this actually going to work? Is this going to survive? I remember when we started making videos talking about it, we're talking hundreds of people would come up to my face and be like, why would you pay for a software for influencer? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm never paying for a software. This is a waste of money. This is a terrible, like, you just review products around your house and you can make a bunch of money. Like, who needs a software? Now things have changed over the last 2 years. Like, it's definitely like a switch has been like flipped of like, if you don't have a software, literally you will struggle. And it's cool to see like how we've been able to kind of pioneer that, where in the very beginning most people didn't really think that they needed it, but I knew that, again, coming from the seller side and how impactful softwares had been for me as a seller, I knew it had that same potential as an influencer. It was just struggle, and
Yeah.
it took some time. And there still are people, they're like, why would I pay money for this? This is a waste of money. And most of the time it's because they don't come from a business mindset. They don't have any business background. They don't understand that having automations and softwares is what makes the world go around. That's what makes these companies $1 billion companies, is they automate it. They systematize it. They use data. They have the analytics to be able to grow that. So yeah, Viral View will kind of come back to that journey of just kind of going and figuring it out. And up until, again, this year, May 2025, I was doing Amazon FBA. I was doing Amazon Influencer. I was doing TikTok affiliates. I was doing some consulting. We had a PPC agency. Like, I was doing so many different things just to obviously, provide for me and my family. And I was basically taking all of the profits and rolling it right into Viral View. Like, I basically didn't take a paycheck for 2 years. And I just kept rolling everything right into it. And it wasn't until just maybe 3-4 months ago where I basically have put every other business on pause, and every business has kind of been on the back burner, and Viral View is 99.9% of my focus on a day-to-day. Like, when I wake up to when I go to bed, that's basically what I'm doing all day, every day, is improving it, interacting with the community, trying to just figure out new ways to market, figure out new ways to improve, hiring people, managing, like, all of that stuff. And so it's definitely taken over my schedule over the last, it's 4 or 5 months. But it's where I want to be. And that's kind of where I see, like, long term, just with the amount of, like, impact that we've made in such a short period, is more fulfilling than anything I've done in the last 8 years. And that's what gets me excited. That's what gets me moving and up in the morning and staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Literally, like, our team, we're a pretty small team, but we're all just working like 20 hours a day on this. And that's all we're focused on. And it's been rewarding to see the impact that we've been able to make. And I can only hope that it's going to just continue impacting more and more people's life as we get to more and more people. So
I
that's
can
kind of
attest to that. I think I got an email
the
from you
breakdown.
confirming the agenda pretty late last night, I must say. So I think you're an hour or two ahead of me too. But yeah,
Yep.
I think of a quote, because when you started developing Viral View summer of 2023, obviously so much of what Viral View does for people, the program hadn't even gotten to yet. And so it reminds me of that quote from Wayne Gretzky. I'm going to butcher it, but something along the lines of skate to where the puck is going to be.
Yep.
And some of that is knowing where the puck is going to be because you're a subject matter expert, because you're involved, because you're heavily inside the program, which obviously you were. But some of it is also just having an intuition to kind of go first into the SaaS space where it comes to this. But it goes all the way back to kind of the origin story where you're always the one to go first into these new areas. And in this case, you went there before it had even really happened.
Yep.
But you're reaping the rewards certainly now. And so it's a cool story. That's why we wanted to have you on the podcast. So
yeah, I appreciate the time, and hopefully your audience enjoyed. And it's been great to get to know you and your team, and love what you guys are about as well. So it's an honor to be a part of this community.
Well, thanks for joining. We'll include some links and show notes, folks, for where you can find Trevin, for Viral View. If there's any sort of specials happening at the time, we'll make sure to just update that in the show notes too. Definitely go give it a look. I use it. I'm in the Amazon Influencer Program. It's very side hustle, part-time for me. I've said it before when I do Amazon Influencer interviews that I've got my marketing agency first and foremost, the podcast second, and so everything else gets third. And
I mean, at this point, Amazon Influencer is a side hustle for me as well.
There you go. Welcome to the club.
Because Viral View is kind of here, and Amazon Influencer is now a side hustle.
Yeah. Now we're trying to figure out how we can get the most bang for our buck with 30 minutes a day here and there.
Exactly.
But no, I use Viral View and love it, so I can personally attest to it being an absolute great piece of software, and really have enjoyed using it and getting to know you along the way. So
awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Trevin. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.